Hello. Can you hear me? I just want to make sure.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Howdy, howdy. How's everybody doing?
Awesome and getting better.
Oh, awesome and getting better. I love that for everybody. Yay.
Mhm.
Whoop, whoop. We're just letting people in, kicking note takers out. What? Good day. Hey, Justin. Hey, Jim. Hey,
Hello.
Here, I can
Jim.
I
How is
can
marvelous
play
Marissa?
host.
I'm good. I'm just hanging in there. I'm just hanging in there, hanging out. You know me, just like here for the party. You know, good day. It is. I'm trying to remove all the note takers.
I got it. Don't even worry
You
about
got
it.
it.
I'm
Okay.
on
Well,
it.
welcome. Welcome to this lazy edition of Ask Me Anything. No, it's not lazy. It's just before the event. So we know everyone's busy. I know I am. I'm going to be traveling from now until like October 20th. Holy moly. It's a long time. All right. So, you know me or you don't. Just kidding. Hi, Corey. How are you? Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. Um, what up, dude? If y'all have questions, I am here because that's what I do. Um, it's so funny. So you guys saw the video that I made today, right? Like I put it
Yeah.
in the WhatsApp. I made that video in under 10 minutes, and I actually decided to record how I did it. I'm gonna post it to YouTube because like everyone's like, oh, video editing takes too long. I'm like, I recorded it, edited it, and posted it in less than 10 minutes. So
So while Marissa is filibustering and just talking her way through some time with what appears to be nervous energy, let me give let me give a prompt to the room. And what's up, Corey, Justin, Jim? Good to see you all. Justin, drive safe if you're in the car there. So when I think, and I get the pleasure of working with Marissa almost every day, right? And so when I try to describe her to other people, it's if I'm a business strategist, Marissa sits next to me as if I'm an organizational strategist, she's a growth strategist, right? It's not just, oh, how do I execute this marketing idea? She knows those things. She'll show you the tools, the tricks, how to make great videos, how to make great AI tools. I still interact with the AI version of me that she made. Like for me, it's hilarious. So I get to talk to myself all day. But I digress. What I push you three guys to ask a question about is accelerating ideas, right? It's not tackling how do I market and sell my product or service. It's how do I strategically pull a lever that can accelerate strategic growth, right? New markets, new verticals, new ideas, things like that. So let's try to push our conversation to that way. It's a great use of Marissa's time, in my opinion, right? How do I escalate, or I'm sorry, accelerate an idea? That make sense? She's
go
with it.
for it,
Corey, go,
Corey.
man. Unmute yourself. Jump right in, bro. You don't even need to raise your hand. Go, Corey.
So
You're first.
one thing that we've been working on, so I don't know how well we're coming in to Phoenix,
Yep.
me and my wife, and then our business partners, Travis
Yeah,
and
saw on the registration. It'll be exciting.
yeah. But we together we own five different companies, right? So we own the Remax brokerage, which includes property management. We own an event center. It's called the Hive. We own a physical therapy clinic for pelvic floor physical therapy. We own a building company, and then we own like an investment financial piece that funds a lot of what we do.
But
One of
stands
the,
on its own as a business
yeah,
entity.
they all stand on their own as their own companies. Well, property management is kind of connected to Peaks. It is technically its own company, but anyway. One of the things that was suggested to us is we have all of these different companies, and why are we not leveraging our own clients within our own companies for the other companies? So if you were us and you wanted to grow fast and you were thinking to yourself, okay, I want to use what I have with the Remax and Luna and the Hive and all of these companies to cross promote, cross sell, cross do all this stuff, like what would you do?
Okay. So the first thing is I would think about like when you're doing something like this is like think of all the commonality of the yes. sorry, my dogs, that exist within all these things, right? Because you've got to be able to tell the story of how these things all kind of intertwine. So let me break it down for you in stuff that I do, just to give you an example, right? So I do some stuff over here with Breakthrough. I have my own company. I've done stuff with Tony's company. I've done stuff with Aaron's company, 75X, done stuff with my other colleagues' companies, Secret Knock. One thing I figure out is, again, what are the common values and things that all of these share, and what makes it natural and native for me to bring them up conversationally together, right? So, like, part of it is just figuring out like word tracks fit, and then how to create the referral ecosystem, right? Why do I have that? Is because I do want all of these things to feed one another, right? Because Aaron, talk to Aaron, he knows, like, business development, I'm not interested, right? So I try to make it organic and real, and I try to share on the different feeds of social media about all the things that I'm doing, because someone may not know that you do all these things. They may only know that you do 2 out of the 5, or they know 3 out of the 5, but they don't know 5 out of 5. So you got to figure out. Right. Yeah. So, like, some of us didn't even know that. Right. So you have to figure out, okay, which things are values aligned, and how can I organically integrate that content? And then how can I leverage the tools that exist, right? Like the collaboration feature on Instagram, where, like, when you're posting a video on one feed, it shows up on everyone else's feeds. So me and Aaron are doing an event with our buddy Greg Reed in Laguna Beach. We're doing an author boot camp, right? Well, one thing to make it really easy is, as we've been doing the videos, we just invite each other to collaborate, and then it shows up on our feeds and we don't have to do extra work. So the way I would leverage it is, if you have 5 separate audiences, that means 5 separate sets of eyeballs to the 100th degree, right? Everyone has at least a couple hundred followers, in some cases thousands. So that's how I would work it. It's like you have your own organic reach pod, right? Where you guys are resharing each other's things. So you have to tell the story. And just remember this, like, you could start with integrating 2 that really align, and then add 3 and 4 and 5, and then it just becomes so natural, right? And then even within the content itself, Corey, you figure out halfway through that content how to inject that. So if you're talking about the brokerage, right? You talk about whatever it is that you're doing, or whatever listings or whatever stuff you have. And then in the middle, it's like, hey, I'm Corey Brady. I run blah, 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 in case you didn't know. And then you go back to your normal word track. So you figure out like a sandwich, where you start with the main brand, you sandwich in the other stuff, and then you end with the main brand. And then again, if you're collaborating with these across different platforms, it makes it really easy. So that's what I would work on, is either in ChatGPT, just develop a prompt that's something to the extent of, hey, these are the companies that I have. These are the values that we share. Help me develop a organic word track strategy to tease each business within the other businesses to create organic reach for all of my companies, right? And then from that, then you can develop like more of a biz dev lens or script or whatever the goals are of each, but that's how you make it feed each other. Hopefully that helps. Does that make sense? Awesome. Yeah, cool. Yeah. So, like, even a great example would be, you're coming to Breakthrough, right? You're taking time away from your businesses, right? So talk about it. Hey, it's Corey Brady, founder of blah, 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 blah. I'm headed out to take a couple days away from all of my businesses, and you tag all the businesses, right? To head to Breakthrough Mastermind, to reset, read with some of my business partners. Turn all of that into content, right? Because then legally, the IRS says you can write off certain amounts of business travel, but if you're documenting each step of the way, you can actually go above the threshold that they require. So, like, again, document, don't create. That's like the hint. Like, don't try to produce it. Don't try to make it perfect. Just document it and watch what happens. It'll be awesome. I promise you. Just start now. Don't start later. There's no plan to start. Just start doing it.
Do you think we need to have specific, like, buy a house from Remax, get this from the Hive? Do you like that kind of a thing as well?
You could do a really direct lead gen strategy, but I would leave it as like 5 to 1. So every 5 pieces of content that references, then 1 you have a direct call to action. Look at it as like incentives, and do these people want these incentives, right? Like, that's what you have to think about. Right? If you do something with Remax, get X% off something at the Hive. Or if you have a nonprofit, get X. Like, there's tons of ways to get people to come into an event space or a venue, right? Yeah, you can tie both together, because there's probably going to be weddings and parties and things of that nature, right? or even like ways to do that. And we can talk about that in person too when we're at Breakthrough. Super happy. Like I love this stuff. Aaron knows. Like that's my jam. This is my
I'll
like
add one bullet point that I've sort of learned from Marissa's perspective to what she said, and then we can move to the next question, which is instead of to your question, Corey, soliciting directly to. So you got five businesses within your ecosystem, and you're like, I'm a customer in one of them, and say, hey, come buy one of these other four.
Right.
Marissa's very good at flipping this script of invitation and collaboration. She's telling you, it's like the positioning is look what I'm up to over here, but it's the idea of, hey, if you know anybody who wants the tax hive, I've got another project over here. It's great. It's sort of like the idea to collaborate, participate, and she pays them to do so with referral fees rather than direct solicitation. Now, when you ask, I know from experience, and I'll finish and say, when I ask my network or whatever for referrals for something else, often some of them will buy as well. Right.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, do you know anybody who can use this amazing space? Like, I know Tax Hive. It's a really cool space. Like, do you know anybody who can use this space over at Tax Hive? I'm offering a 20% finder's fee, or something like that. It's this idea. Marissa's very good at leveraging her ecosystem instead of soliciting her ecosystem.
Okay.
like
Yeah,
I'm really good at selling without selling.
Right.
Like
So hopefully
like
that helps to make sense. Again, we can talk about it more.
yeah.
But I heard your question because it's like, it's hard.
Oh, he froze.
that was a good pose.
I'm totally screenshotting that.
Oh,
I just
Missed
screenshotted
it. I had an internet
Awesome.
blip, but you missed it. All right, next question. Let's go. Let's go before I freeze again.
Shout out to Justin. I know Justin's driving though. He's all over
Yeah, that's
Utah.
cool. Jim, I saw you unmute. Did you have a question, Jim?
I don't know. I don't know how I got unmuted, but I am unmuted, so I'll figure out a question to ask Marissa since she is such a brilliant resource for business. I'm making a hard right turn in my business philosophy or my business activities right now. As everybody knows, I was building a fund of funds to raise money for real estate investments, but the timeline for profit for that was just not working for me. So I'm looking to buy service-based businesses for residential services, roofing, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and associated services. Some associated services to those services. So what I want to know is, I don't want to go through business brokers. Business brokers tend to mess deals up rather more than they facilitate them. And so I'm looking for a way to contact business owners that and get the word out basically that, hey, I'm looking at buying companies. If you're interested in selling your company, I'm interested in looking at it. I don't want to, I've got a specific buy box, which is companies that are making, grossing $5 million or more and have at least a 15% EBITDA. So, and I'm not looking for troubled companies. I'm looking for companies that, the owner is tired of, he's tired of working. His kids don't want the company, so he's looking for someplace to exit the company and go spend time with his grandkids. How do you suggest I do that? You're muted.
All right, Marissa, answer that in
no,
180 seconds or less.
You got 90
Okay,
seconds.
so freaking Aaron and I are twins because he literally put I buy bluecollar.com. And then I was looking on GoDaddy for like I want to buy your company.com, which is also available. So the first thing you want is you want an attractive ask and you want an attractive offer. So I want to be very clear and loving about how I frame this. If someone has, and I'm just going to be really straight up, if someone has a great performing roofing HVAC company, right? The chances are they're not terribly motivated to get rid of it. Okay. So that's just something you have to be aware of because it's like for them, it's like it's fine. What you want to think about is the pain, and what you want to think about is the market. So here's what we know. By the time you get to third generation doesn't want the business from mom and dad. So
Right.
I would focus on legacy businesses where their kids don't want the money, but they're greedy little bitches. And so part of it is figuring out a a website or something that's really easy, like I want to buy Blue Collar or I want to buy your company.com, figuring out a way to make it really easy for someone to submit a deal, and then having outgoing stuff, which is probably going to be with that demographic, like literally like postcard marketing to the owners of those companies that says, like, hey, I'm looking for companies that like if you want to sell. And I would leverage the word track around if you don't want to sell to private equity, because a lot of these guys don't want to sell to private equity or venture capital. They want to sell to people that are going to maintain their legacy with integrity. And the only reason I say look at the constraints of what you want, like it's kind of like an attorney saying, I only want to do high net worth divorces. Well, no shit. Obviously, so does every other attorney, right? So you gotta flex. And it's like, if you have 2 out of 3, that's fine. So think of the 3 things you really want. And it's like, if you have 2 out of these 3 things, I want to have a conversation, right? And
Okay.
that's what I would look at. I would also say, as someone that is in the midst of acquiring a plumbing company, that um, I specifically was looking for one that had the worst reviews. And I looked at those reviews, and a lot of the reviews were just around the technology and communication. It wasn't about the service. Like the service was still good. So that for me is like, okay, because I can just put in systems to make that better. Right. So that same thing for you. I buy Blue Collar might be available. I know that I want to buy your company.com is available for $4.99. I looked it up for you. Set up a landing page, make a postcard mailer, do like those things. Or have you seen those video postcards that you can send to people? They're a little bit more
No.
expensive, but you can record a video and it opens and it plays a video for them. That might be more personal because you're like a personal guy. So that would be my suggestion. And
I've
that was
actually
like
I've
80
actually
seconds
got We Buy
over.
Roofing Company. I've actually already bought WeBuyRoofingCompanies.com.
Perfect.
So
Perfect. So leverage that. And I'll find that postcard, that video postcard that I'm talking
cool,
about, Jim.
cool,
Okay? Cool
cool.
beans. Yeah, no
Make sure I
worries.
Point
I
get
out,
just
make
Jim,
sure I
as
get the
a
replay for this thing so I can
yeah,
go A, B, C, D down the list.
yeah, yeah,
And
sure,
I'll
no
just point
problem.
out as a fact to you, Jim, for some of our attendants in Arizona, we've got 3 or 4 blue collar companies coming. Not to buy them, but just great people to talk to. Justin's over here raising his hand. Maybe make that 4 or 5. I wasn't even thinking of Justin when I said that, honestly.
Jim, you just made my day if I get a deal for you.
So one, you've got a great audience there, but there's also membership that might not even be in Arizona, like Josh Jordan up in Idaho and some others out there. So just you've got a great network around you, man, and talk to the people that are in the game.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and I'm just sharing this for you, Jim. This is what I'm talking about. It's a higher dollar cost to send, but it plays a short video. So when you send these out to people, they're getting to see
Yeah.
you, the website, and hear your voice, right? And so that in this type of business and that type of world, that creates a better rapport and relationship than just a flat mailer. So just a thought.
I've actually got a letter that went out to
Perfect.
620 roofing company owners.
Yeah, Jim, but did you see what she just showed you?
Yeah,
See that
and
letter that
well, I've got
opens
their email
up, has
addresses, so
video, and
now I can follow the letter up with one of those.
And I would also argue, like, the way that I've gotten some of my biggest deals was I sent certified letters so that the people actually got them or had to sign them. So, like, you don't want to be one of many people reaching out. You need to think about how you can do it differently. Like,
Like
one
that
deal
idea.
that I got, I FedExed the CEO directly in New York because his assistant didn't open his FedExes. He did. And he called and he's like, you're the only company that thought of this way of reaching me. You've got it. Right. So that's just something, whatever you can do, that's an edge over everybody else. That's all.
Cool. All right.
Cool beans.
Absolutely.
I
I
got
got a
you, Jim.
question
Pinto
as
beans.
as sort of playing host today for the group for the Ask Me Anything for Marissa. I got a question in my back pocket for a time, but do we have any other questions from the room? Justin, Corey, or Jim, of course, for that matter. Corey, do you
I'm
have another
just curious about we haven't heard a ton about Phoenix. What do we need to know? Like what's awesome? What's happening?
And
Like
there
what's
is a
going on?
text coming out and an email today. So, like,
All right.
what to bring. I will say, I believe there's an NBA game in our future, as well as a pickleball tournament. So, like, mentally prepare yourself for that.
Yeah, bring
But
some
there will
tennis
be an
shoes.
email and text, and that'll tell you what to bring. It's easy peasy, I
Sweet.
promise.
Cool.
I know. I just wanted a sneak peek before everybody else.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
gonna
like,
do that
where are
for
we
you.
going? What's going to be fun? All of it. Awesome. Go for
One
it.
I'd also say one thing just to keep out, we were talking as a team, is just keep an eye on the weather. It's just, into summer weather. It's nice in Arizona. That's why we chose it this time of year, but there may be a little rain coming through for a day or two there. So just something to pay attention to. But it'll still be nice, like 80 degrees, right? So awesome. No, great question. Any other questions about Arizona specifically? I know all three of you guys are going to be attending there. Yeah, Jim, Justin, of course, got you all on there. Brooke.
Can't wait. Cannot wait.
Oh, hey.
So it's interesting that Corey brings up the event. So here's my back pocket question for you, Marissa, is as you go into an event, right? Whether you're super familiar with the event, maybe you're like Jim and you've been to a million breakthrough masterminds, or maybe you're a preview coming into an event. I think you're going to something after this you're not super familiar with, like 4 rooms, right? How do you prepare? What do you do to make sure? What are a couple, two or three best practices that you do that you can teach us because you're a traveler and you're a huge networker that
Oh,
you teach
yeah.
all of us to maximize the event, get the most out of
So there's like the tactical and then the more of like the mental preparation. So a couple things that I do is I make sure that my calendar is clear because I want to be as present as possible for everything that's going on. So like everyone knows I have an out of office on. I'm getting ready to put my out of office up and I can share it with you guys. For those of you that have seen my out of office messages, they're very feral. Like they're really funny because I'm not a surgeon. So if anyone has an emergency, like you can reach my assistant or that like I'm very clear and boundaried so I don't have any of that headspace in my head, which is hard because I have deals closing too, right? But I've got to trust the people that I've put in place. The second thing is as I'm meeting people, I kind of get to know people over time, right? So the first time I met Justin, didn't really know a lot about him. Second time I met him, we actually got into a hockey game, right? We got to know each other a little bit more, have a little bit more fun. And so like I joke that 3 events is the gist of when you start to get to know people and what's up. But also, like, spend some time really getting to know people that you don't talk to often. There's a tendency to stick with people we know. And I just think it's important to have as many conversations as possible. I also think that think about what your intent is when you're in the room, right? Is there something that you've been thinking about that you haven't launched? Is there something that you're like, noodling on, or do you show up to every event kind of chaotic? And this was some feedback somebody gave to me was that I used to show up to events and be a little chaotic in my energy, and I never felt like I was present when I was talking to them. So part of this was making sure that when I showed up to an event, I was really intentional. I was really focused when I was talking to somebody, not looking around, right? Trying to be present. And then also, like, I take pictures with people, I text it to somebody, and then I schedule a follow up. So one of the things that most people are not doing right now is when you're at the event, hey, I want to get to know you more. Let's pull out our calendars right now and set a follow up for maybe just a 20-minute get to know you after the event. We used to have, there was a couple people in the room that were really good at wanting to know who was going to be at the event, and they would schedule meetings with every person before they went, which is like the best way to maximize your time in the room. Like, who are you? What are you up to? What are you looking for? Right. And when you come from that lens, then people are top of mind. So people come to me and they want to know certain things. I'm like, oh, that's Aaron. Oh, you sound like you're trying to get more present. That's Baron. Oh, okay, you're having conflict. That's Susie. So I kind of have like a old school Rolodex in my brain, and I think of what everyone else is looking for. And by doing that, you become a person that people go to, right? Because then they want to know, like, oh, well, do you know this person? Yeah, yeah, here's what I know. So that's just something I focus. But I think clearing the calendar, setting follow-up time while you're at the event for after the event, because it's really easy to let a month pass by and you haven't followed up. What's up, Jim?
Jim, did you have a follow-up question to that?
Yeah. How can we get a list of the contacts so we can do the same thing for breakthrough?
So first things first, in the WhatsApp, you'll see everybody, and then we will send out in that second email, you'll be able to set up your profile on the back end group that we have. So we're using Go High Level as our hub for community. So in that hub, it's like a private Facebook, I guess is the best way to say it. And when you put in your information, you'll get to put what information you're willing to share with everybody. Because some
So for
people only want their
clarification,
emails.
so for clarification, there's an email, text, an email, and everything going out today.
Yes.
So put your information in there. It's only going to the Arizona group. It's
Mhm.
only
Yep.
going to the Arizona group.
Perfect.
Yes, sir. Hi,
Corey
Brookie.
dropped off so fast, couldn't even say goodbye.
No, I'm sure you had a call. I'm like, dude, oh, I see Mountain Roofers in the house. Hey, Mountain Roofers. I know you're probably
know.
driving. Nice to
Who is
see you,
Mountain
Sarah.
Roofers?
That's Sarah.
Oh, Super
Hey,
Sarah.
Yeah, super Sarah. I love it. And I think with that, what?
26-foot truck and hauling a trailer. I feel like a legit truck driver today.
Sarah's moving to a grand estate, and so she's got everything moving over there. Nice to see you.
Thanks for jumping on. Drive safe.
Yeah, I think we got 3 minutes
And
left.
excited to see you.
Yeah. So I think we have 3 minutes. Justin, anything top of mind for you as you're driving on the road again?
All sorts of stuff top of mind. This has been good though. Answered some questions, things that, similar line of, a desire to expand, grow multiple businesses. But I think my focus recently has been to really laser focus on where I'm at now for the next year or two, to be able to make sure that that's efficiently scaling and growing as it is. So I would probably pull you off to the side and have a little more conversation about that when we're down there next week.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think the joke is I meet a lot of people that tell me they have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 businesses. And I'm like, cool, are they all profitable? And then like deer in the headlights. And so my thing is like, as entrepreneurs, we tend to focus sometimes on too many things. And it's okay to dial back and kind of focus your attention and energy. It's better to have 3 companies that are winning and being profitable than to have 10 that are like mediocre and like a C minus, right? So I think it's fun to say you have like 12 businesses when people say that kind of stuff. And I'm always like, but are they all functional and do they all work? Or is your dysfunction just carrying from business to business? And I think sometimes, Aaron and I see that when we're working with people, right? So
Just a real clear moment, recently of all the side hustle, semi-profitable stuff. If I just focus on, the significant profits of this one, it would produce a lot more than all the sides. So that's where I'm focused for a bit.
That's awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to talking to you and seeing you there. There's going to be a lot of new faces, so I'm excited for you guys some of the people from my world are coming in, so I'm excited to have them come into this world. It'll be fun.
I was just looking at the roster today. It's going to be a good room. I think it's good. It's going to be a good room. So, did you have a question, Jim, or are you signing off?
Going to say addressing what Marissa said. We put the fun in dysfunction.
On that note, what a perfect note to end our call and a properly functional 30-minute